Hello everybody and welcome to Attaché, the show that gets you in, out, and around some of the world's greatest cities. My name is Alex Hunter and I'll be your Sherpa on this international adventure. And today we're in Beantown, Boston, Massachusetts. One of the oldest cities in America, Boston has been the backdrop for several defining moments in America's history. From the establishment of the earliest colonies to the first presidencies and the birth of these United States, Boston has borne witness to it all. Not to mention the infamous 1773 Boston Tea Party, where a group of 70 men boarded a British ship and dumped its entire cargo of tea into the water. Now, being a full-blooded Brit, this makes Greg a little bit upset. All right, buddy, just realign your chi. Take a minute.
It's just so wasteful.
Boston is served by Boston Logan International Airport. It's just 3 miles from downtown, easily the most convenient airport that we've covered so far. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this airport. I love the fact that it's so close to the downtown. I hate just about everything else about it. Okay, it's not bad for an American airport, but could definitely do with an update, some better amenities, and have a parking lot that's not in Mordor. Anyway, once you've managed to escape Logan, how do you get into town? Well, there's a few options. Arguably the least hassly way to get into town from the airport is a taxi. Now, Boston taxis are some of the most expensive in the country, but because the airport is so close to town, it still works out as a pretty affordable option. It's going to be about $25 plus tips and tolls. Another option is public transport. The subway, or the T as it's known around these parts, runs from the airport right into town. What you need to look for is the blue line, and that will get you right into Boston where you can connect to the other T lines and get all over this great city. Tickets are $2.50 and you can purchase them from the machines at the station. To get to the Blue Line station, you'll need to take a free Massport shuttle from the airport. Alternatively, you can use the Silver Line, a half bus, half tram, half subway service. The Man-Bear-Pig of public transport. From the airport, the Silver Line travels along the South Boston waterfront and ends up at South Station, where you can connect to a variety of other services. Like any great city of repute, Boston has a fantastic public transport service that will get you pretty much anywhere you need to go in this great city. The T is Boston's subway service, and it's also the oldest subway service in America, but don't let that put you off, it works brilliantly. There are 4 lines, red, orange, blue, and green, that will get you pretty much anywhere in the city. One thing to note about the T, the direction of the trains are referred to as inbound and outbound as opposed to a destination. Inbound is for trains moving into the center of Boston, outbound is referred to trains that are leaving Boston. I know it sounds so obvious when you say it out loud like that, but for the uninitiated, it can take a couple of goes to figure it out. Google Maps is a great way to figure out how to get from point A to point B using the T and other public transport services. If you're going to use any of Boston's public transport services, it's worth getting one of these, a Charlie card. Now, you'll need to go to a customer service booth in a station to get the plastic version, otherwise you'll just get a paper ticket like this. It's definitely worth getting the plastic one though, because the paper tickets do have a tendency to disintegrate. Plus, the plastic version will give you discounts on the T and buses, and it's the only way to get free transfers between those two services. If you think you'll use the T a lot while you're here, it's worth getting a day or week link pass for $12 or $19 respectively. That's really cheap. In fact, it means that they'll be paid off in just a couple of trips. It can be loaded directly onto your Charlie card, so you don't have to carry around a bunch of passes with you. Technology! Taxis. Now, as I said earlier, taxis in Boston are expensive, but they are plentiful. You can stand on the side of any street and hail one with your hand, but be prepared for the fare to rise quickly. There's bad traffic, but there's also tunnel tolls, bridge tolls, freeway tolls, origination fees, and tips, and they rack up quickly. Alternatively, Uber has a strong presence here, and as I said earlier, taxis are pretty expensive, so Uber isn't a bad option to look into. By the way, a lot of people think we're sponsored by Uber because we mention them a lot. We're not. Maybe we should be, hint hint, but we're not. We just feel that Uber is so ubiquitous in the world today that it doesn't make a lot of sense not to mention it.
Ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous! Oh, I should have, damn it. So those are all great ways to get around Boston, and the public transport here will serve you well. But this is an extremely walkable city. It's relatively flat, the downtown area is nice and compact, and most of the major tourist destinations are easily reachable on foot. So put away the mobility scooters, stow the Segway, and explore this amazing city. Got a spare afternoon and not sure what to do? Boston has that figured out for you. The Freedom Trail, a 2.6-mile walking tour of 16 historic monuments, starts in Boston Common, weaves its way through downtown, and ends up at the US Constitution. You can follow the path by looking for the red stripe of paint or the red bricks. It's well worth your time. There are a lot of great places to stay in Boston, but I don't think any of them are as cool as the Liberty. Why? Well, this used to be the Suffolk County Jail, and they have done a phenomenal job of keeping the essence of the building without making you feel like you're doing 5 to 10. This is an extraordinarily beautiful hotel, and they've kept the prison theme alive with a bar called the Clink and a lot of kind of prison motif. We're standing on one of the old catwalks now. This is a really great hotel and a phenomenal part of Boston. Definitely check it out. Because of Boston's rich maritime history, seafood is plentiful here, and it's almost always really, really good. And the fishing and shipping industries mean that Boston also has a very rich because of Boston's rich, I can't do it anymore. The fishing and shipping industry also mean that Boston has a culturally diverse population that stretches back for generations. And when they arrived on these bountiful shores, they brought with them their food and food culture, which have since been adapted and integrated into local New England cuisine with mouth-watering results. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, we asked our friends over on the Boston subreddit of reddit.com, as is tradition, for some recommendations of what we should eat while we're in Boston. And as always, Redditors were generous with their time and recommendation. I want to particularly thank High Tech City, user High Tech City, for recommending a dish that I would have not have any clue about otherwise. This, Roti Canai at Penang. Now, Roti Canai and Roti are generally a Malaysian dish, but because of that wonderful kind of meshing of cultures that Boston is so famous for, you get this wonderful slice of Southeast Asia right here in Boston. And I'm gonna dig in because I can't stand just sitting here while this is torturing me. So good. This was the #1 recommendation on that entire thread on Reddit. And I can see why. This is incredible. Now, when you think of Boston, you naturally think of one food, clam chowder. Now, you can get clam chowder anywhere, but you cannot get Boston clam chowder anywhere. Ergo, when in Boston, eat clam chowder. Now, asking somebody what the best clam chowder in Boston is kind of like asking what the best Spice Girl is.
Scary Spice.
What?
Scary Spice, the best Spice Girl.
Okay. So for the past couple of decades, Boston has really been at the forefront of what's really been an American beer revolution. After years and years of kind of being a joke, you can now go into any bar in London and American beer is fashionable. So we wanted to come to Boston and find out how that got started and try, we've already tried it, I'm gonna give that away right now, some of the best beer I've ever had. We're at Trillium, and we're with JC and Esther, who husband and wife, which I love, and are the founders of this. So how did you, because you aren't like brewers, like from a family of brewers, this is only a 2.5-year-old business, right?
JC had a real passion for brewing, home brewing, and he got into it, I guess now 10 years ago, and started brewing excessively in our home, and kind of taking up every nook and cranny of our space with bottles and carboys. And so when we got engaged, we thought it would be really cool to brew all the beer for our wedding. So we did that. And we kind of created the brand of Trillium as part of that process, just for fun. So JC brewed 3 beers for our wedding, which we created labels for with one of our very good friends who was a groomsman and is now our graphic designer. And we hand bottled and hand labeled them all. And we had this really fun thing to share at our wedding.
JC and Esther's homebrew was a huge hit, and it soon became apparent there was a need to make more, lots more. And so Trillium Brewery was born.
We do brew quite a few farmhouse-style beers. We have a lot of barrel-aged wild beers as well. We have a native New England culture that was captured from the grape skins from the vineyard where we were married.
This is the very romantic part where we went back to the vineyard we were married at on our first anniversary with our 7-week-old baby and harvested grapes with them, which they let us take some back, and we went through the process of cultivating our own yeast strain, which we now use.
There's a story behind every sip of beer the brewery has ever created, from the romantic to the downright creepy. Like Sinister Kid, a Belgian strong dark ale inspired by a particularly terrifying doll found in the rubble when they renovated the brewery.
Buried in this space right here.
The creepiest part is the eyes still work.
Oh, the eyes work, and they're very upsetting.
So you can't really come to a brewery and not have beer, so we've removed the awkward component of this conversation. So what is this? Tell us about this.
This is 4 Point Pale Ale. 4 Point channels the neighborhood that we're in. It's a small but very important historical location within Boston. It's protected by the Landmarks Commission. We're pretty excited about being part of a local community, and every neighborhood should have their own beer. And this is the beer that we made for the community.
So if people come to Boston, how can they get a hold of this?
Probably the most reliable way is actually just to come right here. Come to the brewery on Congress Street.
Okay.
If you're looking for a pint, we have a very small retail shop, Road 34 across the street.
Mm-hmm.
In Brookline is the Public House. In Worcester is Armsby Abbey.
Great. And so, suitably full of beer and cheer, we headed across town to get our sweet fix. You cannot come to Boston without having a cannoli from Mike's Pastries here on Hanover Street. They are absolutely legendary. And for God's sake, look at them. Look at them, great. One last Boston food nugget for you. Now, I know it sounds cliched. I mean, you can't walk through an airport anywhere in the world without passing one. But Dunkin Donuts is a Boston institution. Founded just up the road in Quincy, Massachusetts in 1950, Dunkin' is one of those places that it would just be wrong not to visit when you're here in Boston. Now, a quick Dunkin' Donuts pro tip here, and thank you to Stephanie at the Liberty Hotel for letting us in on this one. Now, Dunkin' is just as famous for its coffee as it is for its donuts. If you go into a Dunkin' Donuts and you order a regular coffee, which to me means black with nothing in it, you'll actually get coffee with a cream and a sugar in it. So if you take your coffee black like I do, beware. So by now you've figured out that Boston is a great city and you are champing at the bit to get here. So how do you get here? Well, visit our friends over at hipmonk.com or check out their fantastic app to find the best fares from wherever you are in the world to here in Boston. Like the rest of the US, Boston obviously uses the US dollar. There are 100 cents in a dollar, and notes start at $1 bills, so you can quickly accumulate a fat stack when really you don't even have enough for your bus fare home. And speaking of a fistful of dollars, how much do things cost in Boston? Let's do the rundown. A cup of coffee will cost you around $2. A pint of beer will cost you around $6. And for the most reliable indicator of a nation's cost, the good old Big Mac, you're going to pay about $4.50. Let's talk cash money for a second. One annoying thing about American ATMs or cash points is they'll charge you a fee purely for the privilege of using them. Now that is on top of any fee that your bank at home might charge you for an overseas transaction. It's really difficult to avoid, so those charges are going to rack up quickly, unfortunately. Another thing that I think is unique to American ATMs and card payment systems is that instead of leaving your card in the machine while you're doing the transaction, a lot of them will require you to put the card in and then immediately take it back out again. Which is weird. It's designed so that you don't leave your card in the machine, but some people, it trips them up and they panic like I'm doing right now. As we've highlighted in a few of our past US episodes, the payment system here remains pretty archaic. But with systems like Chip and Pin and Apple Pay slowly dragging the US into the 21st century, I hope I won't have to go on about this for much longer. But for now, let's run through it again. At a bar or a restaurant, your bill is brought to you in a folder. If you're paying with credit card, you give them your credit card and they take it away to be processed. They come back with 2 receipts. One for you to add tip to, don't forget the tip, and sign, and the other one for you to keep. It's a lot of paperwork, and not to mention ripe for abuse, but it is what it is, so be prepared. I hate to scrape the crust off this barely healed wound, but we're in America, so I kind of have to. Look, America has a unique, and to many of you, as you've been so generous to point out in the comments, an infuriating tipping system. But the bottom line is this: when you're at a bar or a restaurant, tip at least 15%. Now, I don't care if you think it's a dumb system. That's how it works here. You not tipping your waiter or waitress isn't some kind of defiant act of protest against a system that you disagree with. It's just you screwing over the person that's worked their butt off all night to serve you. So swallow your pride and tip.
Now breathe.
I'm just so angry right now. It's not fair, Greg. It's just not fair.
Okay, buddy, just let it go.
So that, my friends, is the Attaché Guide to Boston. If you've been to this great city and think there's something that every visitor should know, or you live here and there's that one tip that you want all visitors to know, then leave it in the comments section below. And while you're there, take a time to subscribe, because we have some more great cities coming up in season 2. Oh, and one last thing. If you think that we should film in your city, then let us know, either in the comments section below, on Twitter, or on the Facebook. Is it the Facebook? I think it's called the Facebook. Anyway, hashtag Snapchat.